remarkable comeback victory over Liverpool. That was the first time the Cherries have managed to recover a 2-goal deficit to win in the Premier League and continued their strong start to the campaign. Howe's men are 8 points better off than at this stage last season. Despite a blip in conceding 3 times against the Reds, that improvement's largely been down to a more resilient defence that's conceded 8 fewer goals and kept 3 more clean sheets.
They've got energy in midfield with the likes of Harry Arter and Gosling, who help in a defensive aspect. And knowing Eddie Howe and how he works, he expects the defender to start from the front. So I think it was the area that Eddie Howe would like to have strengthened or been better this time around.
Being able to field a settled side has no doubt helped the manager. Only Chelsea and West Bromwich Albion have made fewer than Bournemouth's 16 alterations to their starting lineup. Compare that to 25 changes at the same point last year. The Cherries' displays have been all the more impressive given the lack of top-flight experience in their ranks. The players who featured this season have collectively made fewer than 1,000 Premier League appearances between them. And there's only one man among them who's appeared in the competition more than 100 times, Arsenal loanee Jack Wilshere. Even so, nothing seems to faze this squad.
I was part of an Ipswich team that got promoted, and our first season in the Premier League we finished 5th. And there was a lot of players in that squad that got promoted who hadn't played in the Premier League previously. So I don't think it's a necessity that you know what the Premier League's all about, and you have to have all that experience, because I think it's a new challenge for the players, and I think that the Bournemouth players in particular have really risen to that challenge.
In the way this weekend, hoping to halt Bournemouth's momentum, will be Michael Keane and Ben Mee. Both are in the division's top 3 when it comes to headed clearances and blocks, making the Burnley centre-backs prominent figures this campaign. They don't know yet whether they'll have to face former Claret junior Stanislas, who's fighting to be fit after injuring his ankle last time out. The Bournemouth winger's been directly involved in 6 goals this season, his best figures for a single Premier League campaign, despite playing just 9 games so far. The arrival of club record signing Jordan Ibe may have threatened his place, but Stanislas has responded in style.
There was a lot of pressure on him coming into this season. Where does he fit in? What position does he play? But he's really taken the opportunity. I mean, he's playing some great stuff right now. And every time I've seen him, he's looked at a real threat to the opposition's defence.
A less conventional threat Burnley will have to contend with is Steve Cook. His goal against Liverpool was his 6th since the start of last season. Crystal Palace's Scott Dann is the only defender who's scored more in that time. Given that Sean Dyche's side have faced more shots on target than any other Premier League team this season, Cook and his teammates will sense an opportunity to inflict a 4th consecutive defeat on the Clarets. Dyche, though, should be encouraged by his team's record on their home ground. Burnley have picked up 93% of their points at Turf Moor, the highest proportion of points won at home in the division. It's another chance for the Cherries to demonstrate how much they've progressed, and after last week, they'll believe anything's possible.
If you're looking at quality, I think that Bournemouth perhaps edge it over Burnley. So whilst Burnley have got a great home record, I just think that Bournemouth are a side that are playing with confidence and have got great quality in the side. So I think Bournemouth might come out on top.
Jurgen Klopp will be hoping his Liverpool side's collapse at Bournemouth last weekend is quickly forgotten, as the result left them 4 points off table toppers Chelsea. Alarm bells are ringing for West Ham United as they crept closer to the relegation zone last weekend, having now conceded 12 goals in their last 5 games. Slaven Bilic's side have been their own worst enemy at times, making more errors leading to goals than any other team. Their players have made 6 critical mistakes this season, with 3 of those coming in their last 4 matches, all from different players.
It shows West Ham are a team. They're a bit low in confidence. They've had a very mixed start to the season, and coming up against the likes of Liverpool, who do press you in numbers and with speed. Oppositions, in this case West Ham, are prone to error. And as I say, confidence is not what it should be.
After a shaky start to his Liverpool career, Dejan Lovren has been heavily involved in the Reds' play this season. Only Jordan Henderson has played more passes for the club than the defender, who's contributed over double the amount than he had at this stage last year. This fixture has produced plenty of action in recent times, with 19 goals coming from their last 6 meetings. And despite Liverpool's dominance in the head-to-head record, West Ham got 3 of those goals in the last meeting at Anfield, as they picked up their first ever away win in the Premier League against Liverpool.
Swansea City have slipped to the bottom of the table after the joint worst defeat in their Premier League history, and their fans could be forgiven for wondering where it's all gone wrong. It's the first time they've conceded 4 or more goals twice in a row in the highest division, and the Swans have now let in 31 overall, 12 more than at this stage last season. Having managed just 1 clean sheet in their last 13 league matches, it's little wonder Swansea are in so much trouble. They needed to score 5 to secure their first win of the season a fortnight ago, which is not a recipe for long-term success. Manager Bob Bradley's described December as a critical month. They play 5 of the bottom 10 teams in their next 6 games, starting with resurgent Sunderland this weekend. The Black Cats are perennial relegation battlers, but have the advantage of a prolific goal provider in their ranks. Jermaine Defoe's played a part in more than 2/3 of their league goals this season. On that score, he's the most influential player for his club in the division and netted his 8th of a campaign in the 2-1 victory over Leicester last time out. The team's 3rd win in 4 lifted them off the foot of the table. Now manager David Moyes has set aside the target of repeating that form in the next 4 fixtures, which will mean improving their away record. They've lost 4 of their last 5 away matches without scoring in any of those defeats.
Following a heavy defeat to Crystal Palace, Southampton will be relieved to be back at home this weekend, as 3 of their 4 wins this season have come at St Mary's. Their opponents, Middlesbrough, will look forward to this game, as they've lost just once in their last 6 matches, with their win on Monday closing the gap on the Saints to just 2 points. A major part of Aitor Karanka's side's success has been their resilience away from home. Their tally of 8 away goals against is a promising sign, as only 5 teams have ever been relegated after conceding 8 or fewer away goals at this stage.
They play a very technical game, but they make the pitch big. Karanka likes to play his football in a certain way, and it's effective up to a point. Some would say they're a little bit defensive. Clayton in midfield sits very deep in front of the back 4. But I think it's sensible to be controlled in how they play, especially at the outset of the season.
Oriol Romeu and Adam Clayton will be relied on to protect their defensive lines this weekend. The Saints man has made the 4th highest amount of tackles in the league, whilst Clayton has made the joint most tackles out of his midfield teammates, despite missing 2 games. It'll be exactly 12 years since Middlesbrough last travelled to the South Coast club, and that result turned out to be consequential. With the Saints looking set to take all 3 points, Borough struck 2 goals in the final 2 minutes. The draw would come back to haunt Southampton, as they were relegated by 2 points at the end of the season.
Earlier in the programme, we asked which Premier League player has scored the most goals from outside the box. The answer is the former West Ham, Chelsea and Manchester City midfielder Frank Lampard. He found the back of the net 41 times from distance, the most lethal player from long range in the Premier League era.
Watford came unstuck against the masters of set pieces West Brom last time out, conceding their 8th goal of the season from a corner. They're also failing to deal with their opponents' crosses from open play. This campaign, they've shipped 11 goals from wide balls, at least 3 more than any other top-flight team. Their poor defending has contributed towards their bad run of form, with just 1 win in their last 4 games, conceding 11 goals in that time. At Vicarage Road, it's a similar story, as they've only kept 1 clean sheet in their last 12 Premier League home games. The last of that run also saw them fail to score on home turf for the first time since March. This weekend, they come up against an opponent with a player who's also struggling to find the back of the net, especially when playing away. Everton's Romelu Lukaku has scored in just 4 of his last 18 Premier League appearances away from Goodison Park. He'd scored in 8 games of the 18 prior to that. Much like their opponents, the Toffees have had their own defensive problems. In their last 10 Premier League games, Ronald Koeman's side have kept just one clean sheet, recording 2 wins in that time. Like Lukaku, the side are also struggling away from home, having picked up just 1 point in their last 5 trips, scoring only 2 goals in those games.
So 10 fixtures to savour to come, with Watford kicking off the action at home to Everton. Fresh from their comeback heroics, Bournemouth travel to Burnley, while it's a battle at the bottom as Swansea host Sunderland. 4 games on Sunday start with league leaders Chelsea taking on West Brom. Liverpool against West Ham rounds things off. As the season heads into a busy fortnight that brings some key midweek fixtures, there'll be even more highs and lows for the hard-pressed men in charge. Some are attempting to steer their sides away from danger or lift them to new heights. But whether it's towards the bottom of the pile or at the very top, the pressure never lets up for the men who must carry the weight of Premier League expectations. Until next time, from Dave Farrer, me, Dave Beckett, and everyone on the Match Pack team, goodbye.
This program is brought to you by Calpis, Japan's first cultured milk drink. Brickfields Asia College, the fastest and smartest way. And MyEG, Malaysia's e-government service provider.
Zaman baik kali ini, itu menarik. Ini yang mau disaksikan.
Express Perdana Sepak Takraw League, live on Astro Arena and HD.
This programme is brought to you by Wonder Coffee. Tastes like just brewed.
Weekend is less than 24 hours away and the build-up starts right here in the locker room of legends. Let's have a look at Liverpool's goal difference. It is only plus 17 and that's because they've conceded a title contender high of 18 goals this season. Steve McMahon's got a bee in his bonnet about that alongside Danny Mills. He'll dissect, is it the lost art of defending? Plus, we have a look as 5th visits 6th. Spurs go to Old Trafford to take on Manchester United, fresh from a success in the Europa League. All that, plus the highlights of Danny Mills' career, and as always, your thoughts via Twitter and our Facebook page. We're live on YouTube as well. Your Wonder Football Countdown starts now. It's 9 o'clock on Friday night, which means only one thing. You are live on 816 and 834. This is your Astro SuperSport 3 and in a special new innovation. Our show is going to be coming to you live on selected dates on YouTube, of which this is one. So if you're watching us on our Stadium Astro YouTube channel, you are very welcome. And as always, we want to hear from you. Help set the agenda on this show. At Stadium Astro is our Twitter handle. Hashtag Astro Football Countdown. And every great show needs great guests. And we've got some superb guests on the show tonight. The #1 pundit in Asia, the man of 1,000 hairstyles, the Prince of Style, the housewife's favourite, fresh from his exploits in the Suzuki Cup. It's Stanley Hoodie Bernard. Loving the hoodie, Stan.
Yeah, loving it. Loving my hair as well.
Your hair's looking very nice. How was the Suzuki Cup?
It was good. The first game especially, I think Indonesia and Vietnam, lots of drama.
Yeah.
Football was really good. Yeah.
Went to extra time as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
And Thailand to win the final, yeah? As we thought at the start. The Maestro, everyone on the show has to have a nickname. We've given you the Maestro. Danny the Maestro Mills.
Touch of sarcasm, but no, I appreciate that.
You've been brilliant, honestly. I've been glued to the television. You were giving me plenty of stick during UCL Live as well.
Of course.
Nothing worse than getting hammered by Danny Mills at 4:45 on a Thursday morning. But that was good. You enjoyed your time in Malaysia?
It's been great, yeah. I've really enjoyed it. Great people, great food, and I believe tonight is party night.
Yeah, well, funny you should say that because I'm contractually obligated to ask if you've tried nasi lemak. That's what they have to ask everyone who comes to Malaysia. Have you eaten nasi lemak?
Yeah, I don't think.
They'll have to put that
tonight.
To rights. Nasi lemak tonight.
Unless I have and not noticed.
And of course, the living Liverpool legend Steve McMahon is here. Now, you've had a bee in your bonnet all week. I said at the start there, you were straight on the phone to me after that Bournemouth-Liverpool game. I want to do the Liverpool defence on the show this week.
Well, we're going overboard about how good Liverpool are, which they are offensively. But we have to seriously look at defensively. Because title-winning teams, or if you've got any aspirations, you have to defend properly.
I love the passion. Hold it in. We're going to get to Liverpool very shortly.
Just... I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Right, let's have a look at the league table. Where are Macca's beloved Liverpool? Of course, he is the last man to lift the title as the Liverpool captain. They're still in third. It's not all doom and gloom at that goal difference, and more importantly, the goals conceded is a concern. I mentioned the fixture of the weekend. This will be our prediction game in the Celebrity League. Spurs at Manchester United. And the big movers, you have to say, after last weekend, Alan Pardew pardoned. Palace up to 14th on the back of just one win, that big win at home against Southampton. They're at Hull this weekend. And when it comes to the leading goal scorer charts, we'll go over to those total. No real change. It's the same 5 names as last week, I believe. Diego Costa. Oh, no, Alexis Sanchez has leapfrogged Aguero, hasn't he? Alexis Sanchez up to second. Thank goodness, though, still no Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Let's keep that 35-year-old man off the leading goal scorer chart, please. But I tell you what, someone who isn't being kept off the top of the Celebrity League, it's getting embarrassing. Steve McMahon, he did get the City-Chelsea game wrong, but it was double bubble last weekend, and know it all to my right, correctly predicted 1-1 in El Clasico. Why that smile off your face?
I can't help it with Stanley facing me, the connoisseur of Spanish football, and he couldn't get it right. Couldn't get even the result right, never mind the scoreline. So I told you, if you're in trouble, ring me. Even about the Spanish football. Give me a call.
I'm just going to keep quiet.
I think he should keep quiet, yes. I think you're right.
It's a long season. Okay. It's a very long season.
It's a very long
predictions
season.
for Man.
It's longer now for you.
I tell you what, people would be wealthy if they've been following your predictions all season. I can't wait to see what you put up for Manchester United and Spurs later. That's to come, but as Macca insisted when he was on the phone to me straight after the final whistle blew at Bournemouth last weekend, we are going to shine the spotlight on Liverpool's defending. 1,061 times prior to last weekend, a team has been 2-0 up at half-time in the Premier League, and only 22 times has that team gone on to lose. Now it's 23, and Macca, you have to say, as good as they are, as you said, going forward, their defence is an absolute liability.
Shambolic. First of all, when you've got Klavan on a bench, a natural defender, and you put Lucas in, you've clearly got a problem, because it should be like for like. You get a defender who's injured, you put like for like. Otherwise, if I'm Klavan, I think I've got no future.
But is that a squad balance problem?
In what way?
Well, if Lucas is your third choice centre back, you've not got enough centre backs, have you?
Well, no, Klavan is his third choice centre back.
So if
Klavan's on the bench.
But if Lucas, so instead of picking
Klavan played in the week as well against Leeds, you know, and did okay. So I don't understand why.
So Lucas is a midfield player.
But he's picking Lucas in that scenario. He's gone to Lucas as his third choice centre back.
As his go-to man. So what I'm saying, if I'm Klavan, I think they've got no future at Anfield. If a midfield player who can't get a game in midfield is now taking my specialised position as a centre half.
But don't you think that's these characteristics of every manager that we've spoken about this season? It's about the demand. It's not only about just a player with the position, but he prefers Lucas because of what he wants from a player, the demands that he wants from a player.
What demands?
Because you know how he wants it from the back.
No, he can't.
Klavan is
ultimately, you've got to defend. Look at what Chelsea have done.
Exactly.
You know, they've been able to leave out John Terry. You know, who was fantastic. No, last season, take that out. But before that was player of the season. You know, now can't even get on the bench. You know, at times at Chelsea. Good defenders are clearly going out of fashion.
What are we looking? What the manager's looking for? And we'll go through it.
Well, let's go through it now, Macca, because I know Macca, Stan, and Danny have been in our stats bunker, going through this, our tactics truck, if you will, to go through what went wrong. Talk us through.
Origi gives the ball away first here, Patrick. He gives the ball away, and I think he gave the ball away most of the afternoon, and then they get hit on a counter attack. Now, you look at it where we stop it here. Lovren is in he's half-turned already, so he's expecting it to go wide. Fraser sees him. Lovren doesn't see Fraser's ball because it goes inside of him. That's the worst thing that can happen to a centre-half is a ball inside you, Danny.
Because you can't. You need to be able to see both. If he takes 2 steps to his right-hand side, he can see ball and man. It's not a problem. Now you've got a problem. He's been done on the outside. The ball comes back in. Henderson has chased back 45, 50 yards, maybe even more. But what's he chased back for? He's not affected the player on the ball. He might as well not bothered.
He's gone too far. He's already gone too far.
See, look there, he can't see man and ball. No. So his body position
in no man's
completely wrong.
But the thing is, when he did that, he thought he's anticipated that pass because he saw Fraser looking down. He thinks Fraser's going to play it on the outside, but it was clever from Fraser as well. It's an individual error, but there's too many errors in this goal as well. I mean, if you look at Henderson, he tracks back and his body positioning is wrong as well. It's just what you just started.
There are always 5 errors that lead to a goal at some point.
This is the second one. The first, there's a header out, and it's not challenged by Origi again. He just ambles to it. Then it goes wide. There's 11 players, 11 Liverpool, including the goalkeeper, obviously, in that 18-yard box. Now, more is not necessarily a good thing, because the second 6-yard box, almost highlighted there, he brings it down, Cook. It's a great take, I've got to say, but he should be touched. A defender should be touched tight on him.
Yeah, the problem is, when you get so many defenders back in the box, you think you've got safety in numbers, but no one actually takes responsibility. There is no leader in that back foot. I'm not sure there are any leaders in that Liverpool team. They talk about Henderson being captain. He's quite quiet.
Henderson is actually the deepest defender there.
Yeah, he's not going to point the finger.
No, and look at this one again, the third one. If we stop it here, now, that's not bad. For me, that's a great position. Wijnaldum, yes, OK, if it goes back to Cook, I can go and pressure him, and we've got them in the corner, we've penned them in, no problem. If we wind it on a bit, Wijnaldum, his head gets carried away with himself with the situation. He goes too far. It's an easy ball by Ibe. Cook has all day, he doesn't know whether to cross it or shoot. In the end, he shoots. Horrific defending. That is what you do in training. Goalkeeper, that's food and drink for a goalkeeper.
That's bread and butter.
But the second phase is nobody follows it in. And as a defender, you're always taught, Danny, to follow in.
I think that the biggest problem at the moment we have with defenders is they are reactive. They're not preempting what might go wrong. Just we were always taught, err on the safe side. Go with caution. Think, actually, he might run in behind me. It might come off the keeper. So you go maybe a little bit too safe.
Worst scenario.
Now, because everyone's been taught, let's just play. Play out from the back. Let's use your skills. They're not thinking of the danger. They don't see the danger early enough. And in the Premier League especially, or the Champions League, once it's happened, it's too late.
But did you think on both the goals, both of you, right, that the fact that you look at the numbers, it's right. The numbers behind the ball, the numbers in the box is right. Don't you think the players are focusing that, OK, we've got to go back, get back into positions, and then it stops?
Because
both the goals, one, the reaction
is late.
You don't need
those numbers.
Yeah, but it's not reacting.
Give me five defenders against 11, and I could keep a clean sheet for 20 minutes.
When I watched that game, the first thing that my mind went back to was that Crystal Palace game at the end of Liverpool's season a couple of years back. They were going to win the title, and I think, did they not lead 3-0 in that one and got pegged back to the 3 each?
Yeah, that's what cost them one of the big games.
The title. It was the game after the Gerrard slip.
Last season at Norwich, they were lucky to get away with it when they won 5-4.
It just goes to show the credit in the bank, and fair enough because he's relatively new and he's exciting people. But if that had been Brendan Rodgers managing that team and they'd have capitulated like that, he'd have had far more criticism.
You'd have probably gone very, very naive because it's about the substitution decisions players make in them situations.
I suppose the only crumb of comfort for Liverpool fans is they're not the only title contenders that are having problems at the back. And we have highlighted this before on the show because 24 hours before that happened at Bournemouth, the most incredible game of football, probably the best game of the football so far this season. Manchester City won, Chelsea 3 of the big games, Dan. Good point, certainly so. And talk us through what happened
Liverpool
here.
was the start of the season 4-3.
Yes, that was a good game. But in terms of the quality of football, I think this pit that Macca, to be honest. But talk us through the defensive lapses, because there were defensive lapses.
City, when we talk about Liverpool, and City are up there in terms of... Now here, I think it's a good position. That's a good flat back foot until Otamendi decides, and Stones decides to go 1 step forward, Otamendi 3 steps back, which leaves Costa onside, and he bullies him into the goal.
So where's the communication between the two centre-backs? Yeah. Where's the practice?
See, Stones just takes a chance, Otamendi drops.
When first principle of defending, delay protects your goal. The moment a player has got time and space on the ball, He can put that ball wherever he wants. Most players in the Premier League can put it on a sixpence.
This is astonishing.
This could have been a goal.
Count this in seconds, by the way.
Yeah, this is Hazard, right? Fernandinho should have been tight on him, nailed him before it comes out on the edge of the box. That's the first thing that should have happened. Look at Kollarov's position. Here you have two central defenders and no one's gone inside, in front of Costa.
And like I talked about, it's only now that he reacts. He doesn't think, we've lost the ball, they're starting to break, I need to protect my goal. Yeah. Oh, hang on. Hazard's got in behind me, I better chase after him. And he can't because he's not quick enough.
Well, on both goals, again, I'm just coming similarities. One's taking a forward step, one's taking a back step. On this one, you look at it, again, the reaction is late, as you mentioned. But did you think if there's someone right there, okay, we're late, let's backtrack, as what you said. Let's just drop, let's just drop off.
Yeah, I find it absolutely bizarre. We did it, if we just watch this clip first,
yeah,
and then I'll explain.
It's highlighted there. Again, City on the attack. Highlight it, it breaks down, look. If you see, now, he almost walks, he walks into a position, Hazard. He walks into a position, and first of all, Fernandinho lets him go. Kolarov, if you haven't got pace, what do?
Drop.
You drop as deep as you possibly can,
but again,
to protect the space.
It's too late. The moment City give the ball away, Kolarov should go, right, I've got to give myself 10 yards. Because I can't catch Hazard. He gives him 3 or 4 yards and still gets done.
Now, we previewed this game and a lot was made of the fact that Chelsea, since they switched to a back three, there's been no personnel changes. I think just one in that defensive line since they've switched to the back three. City, obviously, with the Champions League, Chelsea haven't got that problem. They've been chopping and changing, but their defensive lapses have been apparent whichever team they've played. But if you're going to compare and criticise Liverpool's defending to Manchester City, surely the fact that City were chasing the second goal to put the game away when it started unravelling for them compared to the situation that Liverpool faced themselves with them, and they were just, surely you can hold on to a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, take the result away.
Yeah.
Just bare defending, just the basis of defending.
Without the context.
Forget the 3-1s or leading or losing. Just take into defending and the pride that comes into keeping clean sheets and defending properly. Your Tony Adams comes to mind, John Terry's of this world, that love defending. They don't seem to want to defend anymore, Danny, in this Premier League.
No, they don't.
They want to play football and don't want to defend.
And when you look at the difference, so Chelsea have changed. Conte's come in, has always been defensive. That's been the most. Every club he's been at, he's gone solid defence. Work on that. You can tell they work on that day in, day out training. City, Liverpool work on attacking. They're not concerned about the defending. And this is what let Liverpool down 2 or 3 seasons ago.
But these are professionals at the height of their game. That's a bit like when you're playing in the schoolyard as a kid and it's all about just scoring goals.
We had it with Steve McLaren at England. It was Ashley Cole and Sol Campbell, left side of the defence. Myself and Rio Ferdinand, the right side. There was an incident very, very similar to that Man City situation. Me and Rio went towards the ball. Ashley and Sol dropped off. And so we ended up miles apart. Steve McLaren pulled us in and went, right, we're going to make a decision. From now on, next time this happens, either we all push up or we all drop off. And he sorted it. I can't believe
just
managers...
in one sentence?
Yeah. I can't believe managers aren't seeing this and coaches are going, it's just basic
organisation. You have to respect the opposition as well. You can't just go and say, we can go and beat these teams. They're born to this world.
And do you think there's an element of what Leicester did last season? The intimidation factor's gone out. I mean, even teams that aren't going to win the league like Leicester, there's not the intimidation. They're not intimidated by these players.
Danny touched upon a really good point. They played cultured defenders. Wes Morgan, Robert Hood, they're defenders before anything. Yeah. So, an example, good example, Klavan. Why Lucas? Lucas is a defensive midfielder. Something similar to Barcelona, who plays that philosophy of playing Mascherano and they get away with it because they're so good at it.
If you were playing against Leicester last season, you'd say, let Morgan have it, let Huth have it. Because they can't play. And that's not being disrespectful. Compared to some of the players in the Premier League, they couldn't play. They're not going to start pinging and spraying balls all over the place. Just let them have the ball. But are they good defenders? Yes, and that's why they had one of the best defensive records.
That's why they're in the you pick 11 players and you pick individual players to say you're the goalkeeper because you can save the ball and you can kick it. You're a right back because you've got pace and you can defend. You're centre half because you can head it and kick it and you can defend. That's why you're in a team. If you can't do them basic things that I want you to be in a team for, then I'm sorry, I'm going to have to bring you out.
The trends. Since 2001, there's now 8% more goals scored every season in the Premier League. We're currently on target to be the highest scoring Premier League in history since it went to a 20-team division in 1996. I'm going to ask you all, as we come to a conclusion here, is it because, simply, the art of defending is lost? Is it that simple, or is it more the intimidation factor's gone? What is it?
I just think managers like Pep, and you're talking about Pep Guardiola, They do ask a lot in attacking. Danny was right about it. So you take out defenders. I think the first basic mistake is you replace it with a ball-playing defender. Too many of them. And then the demands is so high up the pitch, you get caught off. You look at that. They're really high up the pitch, and they don't have anyone to say exactly what we've been touching. Who's going to drop? Everyone wants to anticipate. 2 mistakes, trying to anticipate. Who's going to drop? No one's dropping.
What's the answer to the question, Stan?
Managers.
Managers.
No, it's a twofold answer. The art of defending has gone out the window because we all got blown away with got to play out from the back, got to be great on the ball, got to do this. And it's gone too far the other way.
Yeah.
But when you look at great teams, Juve in the last few seasons, Bonucci, Chiellini, Barzagli, defend. You know, they will kill you. Simple as that.
Arsenal in the 80s.
Arsenal. Chelsea under Mourinho.
Well, when Liverpool won 16 goals they conceded all season.
Yeah.
When Liverpool won the title. Yeah. That was 46 games as well, by the way.
Every great side, whatever competition they win,
you start
has a
from
great
defence.
Look at Inter Milan when they won the Champions League.
But the other thing, when Klopp won the Bundesliga with Dortmund, 22 goals one season, 23 the other. So his team, I mean, only 34 games in the Bundesliga, but so it's not. That's not a reflection on the manager.
And Pellegrini, when he last won the Premier League as well, away from home, Man City would.
Do you think? But obviously, these trends, they analyse this data now like they never have before. Do you think we're going to get the likes of Guardiola and Klopp taking a step back and redressing this, or are they just going to carry on thinking they're on the right track?
What happens with the Klopp and Guardiolas of this world? They want the perfect defender. It's not going to happen. You're not going to have a ball-playing defender who's going to.
They want John Stones in the John Stones model.
Well, you want John Stones to play, but you want do you want him to be a Tony Adams?
The only player that is of that ilk is Bonucci. Yeah. And he was, what, 50, 60 million price tag? And, of course, he signed a 5-year deal. He's the only player that can play out and defend properly.
Danny, you would have put Matt Hummels in that?
No, he's been too... He's not as good a player.
Your two factions, if you've got a defence and say, listen, I want you guys to keep a clean sheet, that's all I want you to do. You four, and a goalkeeper 5.
If you keep a clean sheet, and you've got Aguero,
precious.
De Bruyne... Or you've got
and
a chance of winning the game.
And you've got Firmino and Coutinho's and Mane's of this world, Lallana's. Why do you need to be gung-ho at the back? Why can't you just go 4 stoppers and say, don't concede the goal?
Only once in the last 16 years has a team won the title conceding 40 or more goals, and that was Manchester United in Fergie's last season. And remember, that was 43 goals, 5 of them in that 5-0 draw against West Brom. At the current rate, Liverpool are on target to concede 48 goals this season. They're conceding 1.28 per game, and City on course for 40. So with those, if they carry on like they are, they can't win the title.
To back that up, you've got to have either the second best or the best defence in the Premier League. United have done it, I think, 3 occasions where they were the 3rd best defence.
Yeah. And to win it, the opposite of that. To win it, you've got to score at least 80 goals.
We've got to move on, but very quickly, on those stats I've just given you, on the current rate, Liverpool and City conceding 48 and 40 cannot win the league this season. Confirmed? You with that?
No, I think City still has a chance.
Even if they concede 40 goals?
Yes.
So does Liverpool. If they start working on the defence, then
they have to.
Sides.
But if it carries on,
they have to.
They can't win the league conceding 48, which is what they're on schedule to do.
Cannot win the league playing the football they're playing at this moment in time.
Right, when we come back, we turn our attention to what else is happening in the world of football, including Manchester United and Tottenham. That's the big game this weekend. A focus on Danny Mills' career is on the way, and your Twitter and tweets at Stadium Astro, #Astro Football Countdown. We'll go to the break with the best of the Premier League goals. I'm delighted to say no Zlatan, but we start with something that did go right for Liverpool at the weekend. Mackie, you'll like this, Emre Can.
Emre Can, that's a good response.
Fabregas, terrific pass, Costa! Touch from Kane, but there is here from Dele Alli. Eriksen trying to pass it into the corner. Son! Super finish!
Are we trying to win the game? Do exactly that! All over now!
Oxlade-Chamberlain. Alexis Sanchez for the hat-trick. Never in doubt.
The secret of a perfect kopitare is the height of the pull.
Higher!
Want the perfect blend? Wonder Kopi Tarik, made from premium coffee beans that serves up your favorite local taste. Wow.
Wonder Coffee.
Right, we're at the ELC International School for more Wonder Football Whiz Kids. The standard so far has been absolutely incredible. Still, the British School of Kuala Lumpur lead the way, but that could all change in the next 90 seconds or so because we have got Brandon, Declan here representing their classmates who are behind them. Are they going to do well, guys? Nice. Now, Brandon, who do you support?
Manchester United and Chelsea FC.
Manchester United and Chelsea FC.
I support both, like half-half.
What, like you have a pizza half-half? You can't support football teams like a pizza, and Declan, you support...
Liverpool.
Because of your...
My dad.
And you've got twin sisters behind you who also support Liverpool, so there's a heavy Liverpool presence in the library at the ELC school. You know the rules, guys. 60 seconds, 6 questions. You're up against the clock. If you don't know the answer, pass. Keep guessing until you get it right if you want to, and if it's a numbered answer, you can go higher or lower. The questions are on your beloved, not Chelsea, we have to pick one of your teams, Manchester United and Liverpool. So are you ready?
Yes.
Good luck. And your 60 seconds start now. What was the score when Liverpool played Manchester United in October?
1-0.
No. Keep guessing or pass?
2-1.
No.
1-0, 0-0.
Correct, 0-0. Question 2, how many goals in total were there when Liverpool played Bournemouth last Sunday?
7 goals.
Correct. Question 3, who conceded the penalty that allowed Everton to equalise against United also on Sunday? Correct. Question 4, Divock Origi's got 3 goals in his last 3 games, but what is his squad number?
27.
27, good knowledge. Question 5, who were the last team Liverpool beat in the Premier League? The last team Liverpool beat. Keep guessing, guys.
Chelsea.
No, do you want to come back to it?
Yeah.
Yes,
OK, question 6. In what year did Wayne Rooney join Manchester United?
2004.
Correct, good knowledge. So you're just the last team Liverpool beat in the league. The last time they got 3 points in the league. They obviously... Correct, good stuff. Stop the clock. That was good, boys, wasn't it, boys and girls? They did well there. Because there was a couple of questions that could trip you up. You did very well. You managed the clock. A lot of respect to Brandon, but you've got to pick one team to support, please, Brandon. And Declan, well done to you. Great stuff. Let's hear it for the boys of ELC. Brandon and Declan. More Wonder Football Whiz Kids next week. Many thanks to the boys, girls and staff, including Mr Samuel Postlethwaite of the British International School of KL. Not the British International School of KL, the ELC International School. I was looking at the top of the table. They wish they were top of the table. Thanks to the boys and girls at ELC. The British International School of KL still tops the table. And if you want your school to be part of the Wonder Whiz Kids Football Challenge at Stadium Astro, give us a Twitter or tweet and we'll get in contact with you and get our cameras down. Good boys this week? Very good?
Absolutely. They've all been fantastic, haven't they? The knowledge they've got is ridiculous.
I've had friends who've watched that and said to me, oh, you must be giving them the answers, but no.
No, they're knowledgeable kids there.
Yeah. But the British International School still leading the way. We're going to, I think, because the people are saying it's unfair with the time, and we're going to have quarterfinals and semi-finals. We'll get them in the studio and do something fair. So as long as you're on that leaderboard, you're going to be in with a shout. We're going to get a trophy made, I think. The Wonder Football Whiz Kids
Give it to
trophy.
Stan. He hasn't got a trophy.
Stan. Well, somebody who has got a winner's medal.
Yeah,
is Mr. Danny Mills. Well, listen, it's the 2004 League Cup final. And, I mean, listen, you sort of joke and self-deprecate a little bit, but... It's been
don't blink, you might miss this section. No, it doesn't last very long.
We're going to talk about your career now, because it's been an interesting path, to say the least. I mean, you started off at Norwich, which is where you're from originally.
Yeah.
Then via Charlton, you ended up at Leeds, who were sort of one of the forerunners for this financial madness. I mean, they're sort of the blueprint that admittedly did go wrong for what Chelsea and Manchester United and Manchester City have done since.
No, I mean, it was a great career. I mean, I was never the most talented player on the planet, but hard work, determination, and a good attitude, you know, took me quite a long way in the game. And that's what I'd say to kids now. If you work hard and determined, you give yourself half a chance.
But when you got that move to Leeds, I mean, timing's everything in football, isn't it?
Yeah.
We talk about all the time. You go there in '99, you're surrounded. All of a sudden, they spend money. I mean, Rio Ferdinand was a Leeds player when you were there.
Most expensive defender, I think, in the world at that time. £18 million I bought him for.
Finished third in the league to qualify for the Champions League. And I think going into that Champions League, were you given a chance, or were people sort of a bit dismissive?
We had to go through qualification, even in third. And we just about beat 1860 Munich with a decimated side. First Champions League group, Barcelona. Yeah.
First at bat.
AC Milan.
What was the 4-0 was the first game.
We went to the new camp. All new. We had so many injuries. It was a young squad. We got torn apart. It was embarrassing.
Rivaldo.
I mean, we didn't get out of our half. Clivert was on fire. Overmars, De Boer brothers, Cocu. You know, we were like, where's the ball gone? Yeah. It was just ridiculous. And we came away from that and went, oh no. And then we got AC Milan at home in the next game. Dida in goal. Shevchenko, Bierhoff.
And they were still a force back then.
Well, Shevchenko and Bierhoff were probably the best front two in Europe at that time. Maldini at the back. You know, it was just...
He'd have been 45 then, Maldini, wouldn't he?
It wasn't far off it.
Yeah.
He was still decent.
Yeah, he's a great player.
And it was like, we were like, and we managed to beat them. And then suddenly that gave us massive belief. Then we beat Besiktas 6-0 and then sort of qualified out of that group. It was
two group stages back then.
So you
get the first group stage, first game.
To be fair, AC Milan were kind to us in the San Siro in the last game because we drew with Barcelona at home and all we had to do was get a draw in the San Siro. It was 1-1. Shevchenko missed a penalty and he put it about 65 yards wide. Bearing in mind Barcelona were going out. You can't say there was a conspiracy theory, but probably they didn't mind Leeds getting through. Barcelona obviously would have been more problems for them later on.
In terms of comparison, I mean, to Leicester, who was perhaps a great season last season, now walking into the Champions League on a Wednesday night. Do you think that you guys were putting more focus on the Champions League?
Oh, without a doubt. We were very similar. We were fifth about Christmas time. We were 15th, 16th in the Premier League.
So you looked forward to your Wednesday
nights?
Yeah,
because it was. Well, we were going to the new camp, the San Siro, to the Olympic Stadium in Rome to play Lazio. Also, we had Real Madrid at the Bernabeu in that group. You know, it was just for the fans, for us as players, it was just like every night was amazing. And then on a Saturday or Sunday, you'd have to go and play Crystal Palace or Wimbledon.
Unlike Leicester, I mean, you didn't qualify for the Champions League, but unlike Leicester, you still kept up the pace. You're fourth, I think you finished the season.
We had a fantastic run from Christmas. We won nearly every single game, and that was the difference because we had good players. Without being disrespectful, we had a better squad of players than Leicester did.
Can I ask you a question? But do you think, in your opinion, David O'Leary went too far, spent too much money, putting all his eggs in one basket for Champions League? Because after that, it went sadly downhill.
What happened was that the club, we were top of the league New Year's Day. We beat West Ham 3-0. And the club gambled that we would finish in the Champions League spots that season. We finished fifth. The book came out, Leeds United on Trial, David
Peter Isdale and all the rest, the goldfish.
And it just fell apart.
But all those stories true, like the urban legend about Seth Johnson and the contract,
well,
is it all true?
Technically, that goldfish tank is mine. Because when I did my contract, he nearly fell off the chair when I asked him out of money. And got to the end and I said, oh, and by the way, I want the tropical fish tank as well, which never made it to my house. So I was a little bit gutted when the fish tank got sold.
You were in the dressing room, so word gets round that they're literally just anything that anyone asked for, they're giving them just a...
It wasn't quite that bad. I mean, it has been exaggerated over time. We were getting paid parity with...
After dinner stories, aren't they? The good after dinner stories.
We were getting paid on parity with the rest of the top 3 or 4 clubs at that period. The problem was, most clubs had 15 first-team players on first-team wages. We had 25. And that was it. We had two full teams and a couple of subs of internationals. And it wasn't... You can't justify it.
And the irony is that you were with all those stars and that great young Leeds team, but your medal that we joked about earlier came in your next move when you went to Middlesbrough in that 2004
when I was fobbed, I was forced out on loan. Obviously I went to play for Steve McLaren because it was local to me. It was only just up the road. Gareth Southgate was there, a good friend of mine at the time, and said, "Come and play for us for a season." So I did, and it was good times at Borough. But you know, again, we weren't a great side. We couldn't score for love nor money. We beat Manchester City. And we never had a shot on target. Sunji scored an own goal. But what we did
do... like Burnley.
Yeah, we kept clean sheets week in, week out. And that gave us a platform to nick a result.
I thought we were going to see the League Cup final. Are we going to see the 2004 League Cup final? Let's have a look at it. because this will bring back some nice memories to you. It's the Millennium Stadium, which not at Wembley, because Wembley was being refurbished, which was an interesting point for your international career. We'll get to it in a minute.
If in doubt, hoof it down the line.
There he is. Look at that.
It's
Hollywood
an educated ball.
Exactly. Hollywood passed to a white shirt, straight away gives it back to a red one.
Mendieta.
This is only 2 minutes in, by the way.
There you go. So I think I get an assist for that. Do I get 5 points in this day and age for that?
How many assists? How many phases does it have to go back to get the assist?
If I hadn't started it, it wouldn't have happened.
So that was Job giving you the lead.
Oh, Joseph Job, the worst dressed man on the planet.
Emerson Tom bringing Job down.
What a penalty this is. 2-touch penalty. Yeah. Zenden was lucky.
Oh!
Slipped, hit his other foot, should not have been allowed.
If you tried to do that deliberately a million times, you couldn't do it.
But to be fair, Schwartzy clearly knew what that was and he thought he'd bung one in, just to even it up a bit. Cheers, Schwartzy. Yeah,
that was halfway through the first half. And it went down as being one of the better League Cup finals, but all the goals in the first 22 minutes. Was it squeaky bum time at the end, the last 10, 15 minutes? It always is.
You know, you're under the cosh a little bit. Players are...
Schwarzer redeems himself here.
Yeah, they're desperate to score and whatever, and naturally you just start getting deeper and deeper and deeper. You can't help it. It's just what it is. But yeah, for me it was the playoff final that I played in when I got promoted to the Premier League was magnificent. But I was only 22, I think 21, 22. This was the first one that I really remembered. And I actually, after this celebration, I took a step back and sat on the advertising hoardings at the side, just to take it in, because I knew these moments weren't going to come around that often.
And it's a great... Was the roof closed for that?
Yeah, they closed the roof.
Because that's a great stadium and the roof's closed. I mean, we've just seen Gareth Southgate.
That's why it's
dark. Yeah, we've just seen Gareth Southgate there. And we've got a question that's come in from Arvind, who says, as a close friend of Gareth, Danny, what do you feel he'll bring to the England team now that's different to the other regimes, and how is he going to deal with the volatile English media?
Well, I think you've seen already. His ability to deal with the media has been unbelievable. He's very, very intelligent. He thinks about all the questions. He dealt with the Rooney issue very, very well. Yeah. Brought him into a press conference.
Kept him as captain, though.
Yeah, but you can't, as a new manager, you can't walk in. Rooney's well respected amongst the players.
Yeah.
You can't walk in and just go, right, I'm kicking out the captain. Because as a new manager, that's going to go one of two ways. If it doesn't go well, you're out. You've got no chance. The players will turn on you immediately. Dropped him for the second game, but brought him into the press conference. First time that's ever been done for and took all the press's power away from that situation.
Just let him front it up.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He's dealt with the situation very, very well.
And very quickly, another one, because I want to talk about your World Cup experience with England, but Wilfred says, given a bit of a strange question this, it might be a short answer, given a choice now, would you have opted to stay with Leeds and battle relegation for them? Are you happy you went on loan to Middlesbrough when you won that?
I actually tried to come back at the Christmas to go back to Leeds. So I had a fallen out with Borough while we were in the semi-final of the League Cup. I had a big falling out over me getting bought there and my contract. And I actually phoned Eddie Gray up and said, I want to come back to Leeds. And they were in the bottom three at the time and try and help you get out of a situation. But it was a year loan deal and I couldn't do it.
He said no, thank you.
I actually, in Borough, I actually went into the training ground. I refused to play at Leeds in the new year. I actually went and got my bin bag full of boots, as you did back in the day, and said, I'm not playing for you. And got in the car and went back to Leeds and then got told to turn around and drive back again.
But of course that cup win qualified Borough for the UEFA Cup.
And I got binned.
Yeah, and that final was like one of the one-sided UEFA Cup finals I think there's ever been. Middlesbrough got walloped by, I think, Sevilla, wasn't it? But then, right, let's turn our attention to your England career now, because we asked you to pick your favourite game from your career. And your international story is a fairy tale. You didn't get your first start till March 2002. A couple of months and one Gary Neville injury later, and you're starting every game at a World Cup final.
God love those metatarsals, hey?
Very quickly, because Beckham was injured during that, but where were you when you found out that Gary Neville was badly injured?
I was in a bar having some dinner with my wife and a couple of friends, and it came across on Sky News that Gary Neville's broken his foot, and I was like, get in!
Because literally, but you would have known you were next in line, right?
Well, I was next in line for the squad, and I thought, this is now a chance just to be in the squad. I didn't even think about starting at that point, because there was other players still ahead of me, or so I thought.
And who did you beat out with Gary Neville injured? Who were the other competitors?
Wes Brown. At the time, it was obviously.
Oh, that's a no-brainer.
But he was more of a utility man. Wasn't he?
Also, I mean, I think he was slightly ahead. I played well in South Korea, and then Wes Brown played the next friendly against Cameroon, I think in Osaka, and had a shocker.
Yeah.
And
yes,
again,
is this another one? Yes.
Cheers. It's honest, isn't it? Any player that says, playing my position, I want him to do well. Absolute nonsense.
Well, let's go to this game against Argentina that you put down as your most memorable. It was the second game of the group stage, and it still remains the only time that England have beaten Argentina in a competitive match since the 1966 World Cup, when they beat them in the final en route to winning it. Michael Owen, a big feature, but This was all about Beckham, this tournament, seemingly, wasn't it? And speaking of metatarsals...
Well, the Japanese had bought into him to Posh and Becks. Great dive from Michael Owen. Can't fault him for that. But, of course, there was the 4 years...
Pochettino with hair there.
Yeah, 4 years earlier, it was all about Beckham and Simeone, obviously played in this game. Simeone went to try and shake his hand just before the penalty, and Becks refused to do it.
Yeah, I remember it.
And, of course, the emotion from Becks at that point, you know, was incredible. But it was, you know, Batistuta was in there, in that side, Kili Gonzalez from Valencia. Some outstanding players, and we clung on towards the end of the game.
Why is it your favourite? Why? In what reason?
Personally, well, there's a huge rivalry between England and Argentina. Yeah. What had happened 4 years earlier?
86, it all stems up. You're the same generation as me, it's all about
God.
86.
England and Argentina hate each other. Let's be honest. You know,
the Falklands didn't help.
No, exactly. And that's a huge part of it.
It is, yeah.
But looking at Beckham there, being in the England camp, you know, we read the stories. Was it really a circus all about him? Was it like he was up there and everyone else?
Unbelievable. We went to the Hard Rock Cafe in Kobe because he wanted to go and have a different bite to eat. We'd have enough of the
So he was calling the shots. Like he'd even
without a shadow of a doubt. They closed 4 blocks. 4 square blocks, so we could get to the restaurant. Every time we left the hotel, the streets were lined with fans. Beckham! People scream their heads off. We were getting freebies left, right, and centre from Sony and everything, and we were going, "Yeah, we'll have some of that. Just keep it coming."
Just on the back of Beckham, yeah.
Oh, without a doubt, we'll happily ride the back of his wave.
So that, I mean, the euphoria going through that game. You drew the first one. You're on 4 points. Then you have to win against.
Had to draw. Had to not get beat against Nigeria.
Nigeria to go through, but I'm thinking more you had to beat them to win the group because that would have avoided Brazil until the semi-finals.
But, you know...
At that point, you just had to...
Scholes hit the post, I think. Yeah. Keeper made an unbelievable save. It was 40 degrees.
So you played every minute of every game in that 2002 World Cup, and it all came to an end courtesy of this goal. And this is another question I like to ask people that have been involved in that World Cup squad. How much stick did David Seaman get for letting this Ronaldinho free kick?
None, to be honest. It's a complete fluke.
Really? So you don't think he's slow to react?
No way. The drop it. You're not expecting anybody to shoot from there. He miskicks it. You know, he came up with it. I've done it in training. It's the dropping leaf. He never did it. He'd never done it before then. He never did it afterwards. He got lucky.
But when you look at that, the Seaman takes 2 steps forward. He's almost
expecting a cross. But he's expecting a cross.
Yeah. So he didn't get any stick. It's just
no. I mean, he was devastated. I mean, he was absolutely devastated about that. You know, he knew. You're not just letting your teammates down. You let your country down.
He's a top keeper.
And I have to say, by the way, in the first half, he'd made 2 or 3 outstanding saves that kept us in it at that point. So, I mean, it was lucky. The worst. You know, the worst thing was. Me and Rio got drugs tested after the game, walked into the drugs testing room, which is the smallest little box on the planet. And who's in there?
Go on.
Goofy himself, Ronaldinho. Laughing, joking, and I just want to rip his head off. And you just have to sit there for like 3 hours until he can have a wee.
And you can't, can you?
No.
I've been in the same position. It's impossible to pass your line when you've been playing 90 minutes football.
And you've lost about 3 kilos in water.
Jonathan Wong, by the way, you tweeted, Jonathan, about that Beckham circus around the 2002 World Cup, so I hope Danny's alluded to what you wanted to know there. And another thing that you've been vocal about, and by the way, Danny has been deep in conversation with Adam Carruthers for another League of Legends that's coming your way on the network, so keep an eye out for that. I know it took you about 3 hours to record.
It did.
So
he wouldn't shut up.
Then edit that down and you'll get the best of all of Danny's stories and behind the scenes. But this Robert Perez thing, I'm sure you mentioned it to Adam, it's been in all the papers recently as well in the UK, because Robert Perez isn't your favourite human being,
No, he's not. He was basically, for me, he was the first player to bring in serious diving into the Premier League. And I'm talking about not
Klinsmann had that tag.
I think Pires was first, I think, when he brought it in. But, I mean, diving without being touched.
Yeah.
You know, Pires had this great ability to trip himself up, to clip his own heels and make it look like there was contact as you were chasing him. And it used to drive
Did he ever get you booked to doing that?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. He did get stuck in Rosette a couple of times. Or the front.
Are we supposed to bring Perez in now?
Yeah. Bring it on. Bring him in.
You haven't seen Robert for 10 years, but tonight...
When I retired, they said, what are you going to miss most? I went, the opportunity to go and boot Pires one more time. Because, say, remember, that far side at Highbury, where you could just give players a little nudge and they'd end up in the stands.
Now, I'm a decent lip reader, but bearing in mind what you've just told us about your feelings towards Mr. Pires,
this is in French, by the way.
Can you tell me what you said to him here? Because this was the famous penalty. They'd already scored one Pires penalty, Arsenal, and then they went for the Cruyff-Olsen impersonation. It went badly wrong, and then you went and told him what you thought of that.
I was like, you French.
I mean, you've obviously got to keep it. What were you saying? Were you insinuating that was disrespectful?
I was saying you were very disrespectful, Mr. Pires. Please don't do that again, or I might have to give you a slap.
Right. More from Danny Mills' career. Some great stories. You can find out more when you watch his League of Legends episode with Adam Carruthers. Stay tuned for the network to find out when you can see that. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with a look forward to the feature game of the weekend. It's at Old Trafford, United against Spurs. But we take you to the break. We've searched high and low, Danny, for your best five goals.
That's all of them.
You only scored 6. We could only find the footage from 3. So it's the 3 best Danny Mills goals we could find.
Another fullback who would emerge on the international stage is Danny Mills. The Leeds defender revelling in the chance to play former club Charlton.
The secret of a perfect kopitare is the height of the pull.
Want the perfect blend? Wonder Kopitare, made from premium coffee beans that serves up your favorite local taste. Wow.
Wonder Coffee.
Hana, do, say. The world's supreme shuttlers hit the floor.
Hit the dance floor.
At Seongwipo Olympic Stadium, Korea.
Hit the dance floor.
For a chance to be crowned in the last calendar event of the year. The BWF Grand Prix Gold Korea Masters 2016. Live on Astro SuperSport 4 in HD.
We're back live on Wonder Football Countdown. Big game this weekend. Manchester United, all those draws and drop points, take on Tottenham Hotspur, who are finally starting to show signs of... It sounds a bit harsh, doesn't it, saying a team showing signs of a revival when they've only lost 1 game all season. But Spurs have been a bit wobbly of late, haven't they?
Too many draws.
Yeah, and
That's
of course they finally got a win at Wembley in the Champions League, but not enough to get them through to the knockout stage. They play in the Europa League. Interesting game this. It's our prediction game. I found it really tough. Loads of stats about Manchester United. They've won just 1 league game in the last 2 months. That was against Swansea. They've only scored 2 more league goals than Swansea, 5 less than Palace, and we've talked about Palace's struggles. And they've dropped 7 points in the last 10 minutes of games. Sorry? No. I mean, the positives are, as Mourinho... Well, Mourinho is the man for the positives, is he keeps saying, well, listen, there's not one team we've played that's been better than us. We're just not getting any luck. And it's a record that he's trotting out and trotting out. But the big story from last weekend, the boys knew it in the quiz there from the ELC, the substitution for Fellaini that led to the penalty.
Yeah, why? He was negative.
Yeah.
You know, Fellaini's new to the game. It's against Everton, so he's a bit impetuous, to say the least, anyway. Everton fans hate him. He's got this thing about it, so he's always likely to do something stupid.
But you talked about clumsy.
Yes, but he's always like because of the occasion.
But Mourinho's always done it, but with a better player.
Yeah.
Remember, in the last 10 minutes, he's always brought Mikel on or whoever it is just to shore things up. He's brought Zuma on at Chelsea to play in that role.
Yeah, they keep
Fellaini's not.
This fact that they're conceding goals in the last 10 minutes, it's because of they're negative tactics. If you put defenders on in the last 10 minutes, it encourages you as the team that's losing to go forward even more.
Well, I think Roy Keane said it, didn't he? You know, an injured Sebastian Schweinsteiger is better than a fit Fellaini. And that's the problem. I still don't believe Fellaini is good enough for Manchester United.
No, he wasn't at the time, and he still isn't now.
I read a great quote. Somebody wrote a letter into one of the editorials that said, putting on Marian Fellaini in that situation is the worst decision Manchester United have made since they signed Marian Fellaini, which is a bit harsh, but fair. But the points that are being dropped in the last 10 minutes, I mean, the 4 games in focus, they dropped... A point against Watford when they were holding on for a draw, and then Zaninga came on, remember, and turned that game on its head. It was a Watford substitution. 2 points against Stoke. They made a substitution in the 82nd minute in that game. 2 points against Arsenal, a substitution in the 89th minute in that game. And the 2 points against Everton, again, an 89th minute substitution.
It's the same. All of it, it's the same reason. It's because they give that indication, as what Micah touched, to the opponent, that you're going to defend that lead. And
but listen,
there is an element of
to play devil's advocate in this. David De Gea has been United's best player for the last 3 seasons. So clearly there is something wrong with Manchester United's
That's a good point.
ability to defend.
It's a bit like Tottenham as well. If your goalkeeper is your best player, there's something wrong.
Can Mourinho turn that around overnight? Maybe not with the players that he's got.
But then to counteract that, Mourinho's been the artist in getting teams to defend properly when he was at Chelsea.
That's the reason
so why can't he do it again?
Exactly, that's the reason he's been brought in.
But it's incredible. We've looked at 2 teams. Again, I say they're struggling. Liverpool 3rd, Manchester City 4th, and even Man United 6th.
Yeah, but look at the points difference.
Yeah, the points difference. But what I'm saying is we're talking about teams that aren't at the bottom of the table. We've criticised Liverpool and Manchester City for being too gung-ho when it comes to defence and throwing too many bodies forward, and now we're almost criticising Mourinho for taking the opposite.
I think the element of them spending as well, with the quality on the pitch, you expect better. It's as simple as that. With that kind of players on the pitch, with that kind of money, you expect better. The demands are higher.
But you wouldn't criticise if they were actually seeing the job through. If they were bringing Fellaini's on and Schweinsteiger, and then getting away with it, winning 1-0 and winning 2-1.
Like Mourinho did when he won that second title at Chelsea.
You wouldn't. No. If it was Pep and you win 1-0 or 2-1, he'll get the criticism.
Yeah, if you're conceding goals and you bring in making them substitutions on, you have to take the responsibility.
And very quickly, I was watching the coverage at the weekend. You weren't happy with Mourinho post-match, shrugging his shoulders, no comment. But can you blame him when if he says anything, he's going to get himself into trouble?
I think he never bothered before. He relished press conferences. He wanted to take the press on, take the public on. He just seems to have lost a little bit of his mojo. You know, I think maybe Madrid has damaged him. Came back to Chelsea, they loved him. Then got rid of a load of senior players. And maybe he's just lost that X factor.
Chelsea's killed him, I think. Yeah. The Chelsea episode.
And it's something we've come back to time and time again. It's a combination of that and the fact.
I don't mind him doing this. I want to see him doing more of this.
No, that was ridiculous from the FA, suspending him.
But you're not allowed to do it, Macca.
Oh, kicking a water bottle.
Arsene Wenger got sent off when he did that at Old Trafford.
He's kicked a water bottle, for heaven's sake. I mean,
what's that? Is that violent conduct on a water bottle?
Listen,
bringing the game into disrepute?
You're not allowed to do it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that's the rule. You're not allowed to do it.
It's the same thing with a player on a pitch, right? If you kick the ball away after it's a foul and you're not happy with it, you're going to get a yellow card, isn't it?
It's a water bottle, for heaven's sake. It's a water bottle.
What's wrong with kicking a ball when you're angry?
We've got to move on. We sort of gone around in circles with Mourinho. We'll talk more about him, I'm sure, but there's clearly something wrong. We're all agreed on that.
He seems to have lost his X factor, you know, that he had previously at other clubs.
Where does he rank for you, sort of Mourinho at the moment, in terms of all those other bosses? Because that's the other thing. The other managers that have come up. Well, no, listen. Before it was like Fergie and Wenger, and now,
if I had the choice to play for managers at the moment, he'd still be in my top 3.
No, okay, that's a good question. Put it that way. Who would, if you could pick any of those managers to play for in the Premier League now, which one would it be?
I think I'd go Conte, Mourinho, and Pep.
Stanley?
I'd probably go 7th or 8th.
Really?
Even Coleman is better than him at this point.
Luckily for you, I don't think Josie will be calling you any time.
We're just looking along there, I can see.
So go on.
So you got Conte, yes. Guardiola, yes. Klopp, certainly yes. Pochettino, definitely yes.
3.5.
Coleman?
Who?
Coleman.
Okay.
Coleman?
Ronald Koeman.
Ronald Koeman?
Guys.
Possibly, but not in this.
Got to go around for celebrity predictions. This
Probably
is the
Mickey
big game.
Phelan.
Manchester United 2.
Yep.
1.
2-1 to United.
I'm going to have to agree with Asia's best pundit.
Asia's number 1.
Number 1 pundit, sorry.
But he's not on the board, look.
Yeah, look at the governor. What's the governor?
What's the governor?
I'm reversing that. 1-2. Tottenham to win 2-1.
I'm going for 2 each, but I'm not in form at the moment. Right, stay with us. We're going to do Cheers and Tears when we come back, along with Quickfire. We're back in a couple of minutes with Stan, Dan, and more from Macca. Stay with us.
Everyone likes to start their day with freshness. Fresh food, fresh air, fresh breath. And sports is no different. Here, we now serve sports news fresh up from around the world. SuperSport Daily. Fresh. Every weekday on Astro SuperSport in HD.
Dalam Nadia Arena hari ini, berita gempar yang kami terima adalah mengenai virus pelik purple merebak di seluruh negara. Ia kelihatan jelas, sangat jelas di CCTV. Bukan itu sahaja, lampu jalan juga telah bertukar menjadi purple. Lebih memeranjatkan lagi, kami menerima laporan tentang hujan bulu tangkis purple. Amaran kepada semua bersedia untuk demam purple bermula 12 Disember di Astro Arena dan HD.
Welcome back to your Wonder Football Countdown. We're live at 9 every Friday night, 816 and 834, and in a new innovation, selected Astro SuperSport programming coming your way live on YouTube. And we're honoured that Wonder Football Countdown has been chosen to be the first show live. So if you're watching us on YouTube, a very warm welcome. Right, Twitter and tweet, @StadiumAstro, hashtag Astro Football Countdown. The questions have been coming in. Francis Chin, one for you, Danny. Not Francis Chin, Stephen Tan. To Danny, who is the best player you ever played with in your career?
Well, I was unfortunate enough not to play with Steve McMahon.
Or Stanley Bernard.
Or Stanley Bernard, so I have to go with John Barnes.
John Barnes, or he was some player. You played with Barnes, of course, as well.
That's
something you got in common.
I would go...
That's bridging the generations, that is. Francis Chin, Stan, this one for you. Is, in your opinion, are video replays being introduced good for the game? They're going to happen at the FIFA Club World Cup, aren't they?
Yes, because there's just too much diving going on.
Not sure about that one. We should do that in detail at a later date. Macca, Bob says, Chelsea on top now. Players' performance or coach and his tactics making the team play well?
Both. You've got to have both in this. Coach has been fantastic and the players have stepped up. Both in that occasion.
Right, cheers or tears. You know the drill, Dan. Cheers, tears. First one. Have a look at this. Let's have a look at this VT. This is from the Champions League. Besiktas. All they had to do was go to Kiev and win, and half an hour in, Andreas Beck gets into a tangle with Derlis Gonzalez, and much to Beck's dismay, not only does he concede the penalty, he's sent off. Right, that decision from Scottish referee Craig Thompson. Stanley, cheers or tears? Tears.
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 Oh, it's the full tears.
It was a shocker. It was a shocker. They went on to lose 6-0 and had another man sent off. Right, Foxes, their Champions League mass rest policy. Only Wes Morgan started, 10 changes. It backfired, the biggest ever defeat by an English team in the Champions League. Cheers or tears for Ranieri there?
Tears will backfire this weekend.
We will find out this weekend. That's a good point.
Tears.
But mind you, if they get a result against City, stranger things have happened. Right, lots of transfer speculation over Arsenal. One of the school of thoughts is that to keep Sanchez, they'll have to let Ozil go. So in that scenario, keeping Sanchez but losing Ozil, if that's your last resort, is it a cheer or a tear? Or do you need to keep both or completely? Tears?
Tears, got to keep them both.
Well, if you've got to keep one, I keep Sanchez because he's got much of a muchness in midfield.
Cheers if that's the option.
So I'm cheers, yeah. If you put me on the spot, yeah.
We all slaughtered them last weekend, said he'd be gone by now, Alan Pardew, but it proved us wrong. 3-0 against Southampton. Palace back on track. Their first win in 8, that 3-0 win, and they're at Hull this weekend. So are Palace back on track? Of course, a 360. We're all doing a 360.
It is, and I want to see his little jiggy dance again as well.
Not a 360, 180, not a 360.
That's
you, yeah.
I'm going tears. He'd be back on the slippery slope again. Football's like that.
OK, and Manchester United and Spurs join other contenders, Roma, Zenit, Bilbao, Villarreal, Celta Vigo and Lyon in the Europa League. An English team to win the Europa League?
Yes, Manchester United.
Yes, cheers, English team.
No, Italian, Roma.
They haven't won it. Italy haven't won it for 25 years.
You've asked me a question. I don't want stats. You don't want to start me.
Where's your cheer or your tear?
It's tear.
Liverpool haven't won the title, but it'll still say Liverpool, won't it?
Exactly.
Right. Are we going straight to quickfire? I think we are. Let's go straight round to quickfire now. Another VT for you chaps. Let's have a look at your screens. What is Jose Mourinho doing here? Your 1 minute, Stanley Bernard. Starts now. Stan, what's Jose doing there?
I don't know, he's got something on his watch and he's trying to sniff it.
Beam me up, Scotty.
No, I think he's talking to someone. He's got the earpiece in. I think he's calling security.
I think he's crying his eyes out.
I think he's sniffing the Olbas oil. Right, who deserves the Ballon d'Or being announced on Monday?
Don't you dare.
Ronaldo.
Really? I thought you watched Spanish football.
Come on, we're on quickfire here, Dan. Messi?
Suarez.
Suarez? That's not going to happen.
I just think...
Well, he should do for 2-3 years.
Question 3. Will City and Liverpool keep clean sheets this weekend? We've been annihilating their defensive performances. They're at Leicester and v West Ham, respectively.
Chelsea will, City won't.
OK.
No.
Chelsea,
City and Liverpool. We said he didn't mention Chelsea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
no is the answer.
No to both. Quickly.
I think they will. Both will keep clean sheets.
And which country is going to provide the Champions League winner? 5 of the last 6 finalists have been Spanish.
Oh, you don't even have to ask him.
Spain.
Spain.
And for last question on that Ballon d'Or. Who is the last player other than Messi or Ronaldo to win the Ballon d'Or? Who knows this one? Come on, anyone? Last player other than Messi or Ronaldo to win the Ballon d'Or?
So long ago. 2008, was it?
No, Kaká. Long time ago, though.
Yeah, a long time ago.
8, 9 years ago.
7, yeah.
Yeah, right, let's go to the shock shop. What's going to be the shock of the shock this weekend?
I've gone for...
you don't know what you've gone
for. You've forgotten what you've gone for. What's he gone for?
No wonder you're bottom of the table.
That'll remind you, West Ham to get a point out.
Yeah, West Ham to get a point.
You've been sticking pins in again.
Are you sure or what?
Stoke to beat Arsenal.
Stoke to beat Arsenal? That's a good shout.
OK, I'm going West Brom to get something at Chelsea.
That's a very bold one. I'm going for 5 or more goals at Bournemouth. I got Burnley against Bournemouth. I think it's going to be a goal fest there.
That's a 0-0.
Yeah.
That's a 0-0 said. Quite right too. Right, what's coming your way live? Some great pundits this weekend. It's the trifecta of fantastic pundits with Danny, with Macca and, of course, Gary Stevens, the Sizzler. Watford against Everton, 8 p.m, 816 and 834. Watford, 11 goals conceded in the last 4 games. Arsenal against Stoke. Danny thinks that one's going to be a shock. That's 10:30, 816 834. Burnley against Bournemouth. There's going to be goals there on 810 and 831 at 11 p.m. Hull City against Palace. Can the Palace mini revival continue? That's on 811 and 833. Leicester against Manchester City, 816 834 is the late game. And can I just say, it's very sad that we don't mention Swansea and Sunderland. They're an Astro on the go. They weren't going to get a mention, but I think we should mention them.
We should mention Barb.
Barb Bradley. Chelsea against West Bromwich Albion, 816 834. That's a 7:30 start for you on Sunday. Then the big one, 816 834, 10 p.m. United entertaining Spurs. Southampton and Middlesbrough. What about Middlesbrough? By the way, they've conceded the same number of goals as Manchester City. 15.
Yeah,
incredible.
Manchester City are poor.
Yeah, but Middlesbrough, that's why Middlesbrough up there in blooming 13th, they're not in the drop zone. And then Liverpool against West Ham, 816 and 834. We have squeezed so much in. We're going to squeeze a little bit more in on added time. So check back on our Facebook and YouTube channels in a couple of hours' time and we'll get you some added time. And we're going to talk about the main Champions League contenders. The draw for the Champions League, by the way, is 7 p.m. on Monday night. Join the girls on Astro SuperSport Daily. They will bring that to you live. My thanks to the Housewives' favourite Stanley Bernard, the maestro Danny Mills.
That was me.
You can be the
Can I have that?
You can be the Housewives' second favourite.
Okay.
And the living Liverpool legend Steve McMahon. Look forward to watching you guys both on the channel this weekend on the live Premier League coverage. Stan will catch you in the Suzuki Cup final as well. Looking forward to you're going to go for Thailand to beat Indonesia?
Guaranteed.
And please look after Roshan. I'm away next Friday, so Roshan will be in the hot seat. Enjoy your week live at Astro SuperSports and don't forget to join us every Friday night live at 9, 816 and 834 for more Wonder Football Countdown. We'll see you soon.
You by Wonder Coffee. Tastes like just brewed.
There's a classier way to reach your football stars. Join the Astro PFA Fans Player of the Month contest.
We had set out into the unknown.
You know I'm a dreamer.
A new hope for humanity.
My heart's gold. I had to run away high, so I wouldn't come home low.
This is our story. This is how I came to call Mars home.
I'm on my way home, sweet home.
Mars. Sunday nights at 10 on National Geographic.
Everyone likes to start their day with freshness. Fresh food, fresh air, fresh breath. And sports is no different. Here, we now serve sports news fresh up from around the world. SuperSport Daily. Fresh. Every weekday on Astro SuperSport in HD.
Good evening and welcome to Ukraine for the final match in the UEFA Europa League group involving Fenerbahce and Feyenoord, and these two, Zorya of Luhansk on the right of your picture, and of course needing no introduction, the world famous Manchester United on the left. Wayne Rooney leading a strong team for Manchester United. They've left a few at home, but they have such an array of talent in the squad. But there is a very strong-looking lineup about Jose Mourinho's team because they are not sure of qualification yet. While for Zorya, it's just a farewell to Europe for at least another season, as they will take no further part in UEFA competition after this evening, this season, having already been consigned to bottom place in the group. But everything else is up for grabs. Who's going to win the group and who goes through alongside the winners of the section, still undecided. The equation is quite straightforward for Manchester United. If they get a draw here, they will definitely be through. But they have an appalling record on the road. Ever since Sir Alex Ferguson left, really, Mourinho hasn't been able to change that around. 5 successive away defeats for Manchester United. If Manchester United win, then they could win the group. They would go on to 12 points with 4 wins and 2 defeats. And only a Fenerbahce victory in Rotterdam against Feyenoord this evening could deny them top spot. We'll keep you in touch with that one. Could be vitally important for Manchester United fans. They could even go through with a defeat here tonight, as long as Feyenoord don't win that other match kicking off simultaneously. We're not in the city of Luhansk, that's still war-torn. Matches in the Europa League this season for FC Zorya are being played at the Stadion Chernomorets, which was opened a little over 5 years ago. Hungarian officials lead us out. Tamás Bogna is the lead official. And they've waited a long time for this, to see Manchester United back in Ukraine. They have been here before, and they have done pretty well against Ukrainian teams. Manchester United's 4th visit to Ukraine. Faced Shakhtar once before and Dynamo Kiev twice. Here is the UEFA Europa League anthem. Plenty of admirers of Jose Mourinho and his team. The 2 coaches have a warm embrace ahead of the match. There had been some concern about conditions here, especially the condition of the pitch, but by stroke of fortune for Manchester United, it's not even very cold here tonight, hovering well above 0 at the moment. Zorya make numerous changes from match day 5 when they were beaten in Turkey, 5 in all, including Igor Levchenko, who will play in goal, his first appearance in Europe, and also a European debut for Artyom Suhotsky at fullback, and Denis Bezborodko, who's making a name for himself up front lately. Ljubinovic and Opanasenko are also restored to the starting lineup by Yuri Vernidov this evening. Manchester United will have a lot of support here. They're quite well supported in Ukraine. I think probably Liverpool are the biggest supported side. The 900 supporters from Manchester United have come across here as well, as the locals who've chosen to support Wayne Rooney and his team. Spagna making his 2nd trip to Ukraine for a match, first club game here. Here's the Manchester United team that you may have been waiting for. 4 changes from match day 5 for them. Eric Bailly is back into the defence, which is a big boost for them, recovered from injury. And Marcus Rojo alongside him, as it's all change in the back line. Ashley Young in at left back, and Ander Herrera as well into the centre of midfield, restored there. Phil Jones is on the bench this evening, and Carrick, Luke Shaw and Antonio Valencia were all left back in England by Jose Mourinho. So before kick-off, let's remember the tragic events that happened in Colombia and the air crash that wiped out the Brazilian team, Chapecoense, and pay our respects, as do the people of Odessa and throughout the footballing world, with a minute's silence. Well, they've been designated champions of the second competition in South America and the second most important club competition in Europe. Sees Manchester United bidding to win this trophy for the first time, but standing against them this evening a team with seemingly little to play for, but they will be certainly up for this one to try and take a memorable scalp, and it could be a continuation of Manchester United's travel sickness in Europe that leads to their downfall. If they lose tonight, they might well be heading out of the group stage. And what an ignominy that would be for a club the size of Manchester United. Now, a Hungarian official gets us underway. You can see the pitch isn't looking too good at this time of year. That's no surprise. They haven't quite started the winter break yet in Ukraine. Zoria will have another match before the league wraps up for 2.5 months. They will play against Stal Dnipro, but that match won't be played here. A nomadic side, it has to be said. Zoria. The temperature, by the way, 2 degrees, and it's actually going to get warmer throughout the night, and tomorrow will be up to a balmy 7 degrees. A little more temperate than the rest of the country. The Black Sea coast, beautiful city of Odessa. Maybe you get the chance to go, I would recommend it. Quite cheap as well. Some beautiful architecture. There's a big Mediterranean influence, French and Italian, Spanish links as well. Here's Ibrahimovic, Rooney outside him. Zlatan comes inside, look for Herrera making the run towards the edge of the penalty area. And easily cleared by the team in white, nicknamed the Black and White. Cherny Lili. Recovered. Zoria without Eduard Sobol this evening, who caused Manchester United a few problems in the first leg, and also Mikita Kamenyuka is left out tonight. First touch for Levchenko, the keeper, given the gloves this evening by the coach. Yura, as he's known to his friends. Levchenko has played only 2 league games this season as well. Usual keeper Alexei Shevchenko is on the bench this evening. The greatest pass in the world from Ibrahimovic. There's the opposite, number 22, Mkhitaryan. Familiar face, of course, in this part of the world. Played for 2 Ukrainian clubs before moving on to Germany and then to Manchester. Henrik Mkhitaryan, and trying to relaunch his Manchester career really after an auspicious start. Seems to be finally convincing Jose Mourinho that he can do a job. Zoria will be fighting hard for this one. They've slipped of late though. Mourinho is a former winner of this competition, unlike Manchester United. Led Porto to success. This indeed is his first venture in the Europa League or UEFA Cup since winning the trophy with Porto back in 2003, and they edged Celtic in a thrilling final in southern Spain, in Seville, by 3-2. We'll have a new winner of the trophy this year, speaking of Seville, because Sevilla, having dominated the competition in recent seasons, won't get the chance to defend their trophy because they went through in the Champions League this week. Draw for both UEFA's big competitions taking place on Monday. It'll be a fascinating draw that may not feature either of these sides here. Round of 32 taking place in February. Pogba goes long towards the edge of the penalty area. Matter across goal. The keeper should get there ahead of Zlatan, and he does. And Igor Levchenko collects the applause from the crowd as easily as he collected the ball from Juan Mata's effort into the penalty area. As I said, Schenker taste recently of first team action again with Zorya. Played a couple of games in November. Actually played one here in kept a clean sheet in the goalless draw against Chernomorets. They are the host club here, Chernomorets. Looking ball forward, the lone striker, Bezborodka, take it in his path. We'll get support from Petriak on the left-hand side.